How to Use Your Paperwork. February 28, 2019 by Anna von Reitz. The best paperwork in the world won't help you if you don't know how to use it, so yes, you need to think about it beyond just recording it. Reason and logic. The reason you create and develop the paperwork in the first place is to use it as superior evidence of who you are, a lawful person, and the capacity in which you are acting, peaceful American state civilian. The British Territorial Army, aka United States Raj, has deemed it expedient to misidentify everyone as enemy combatants until proven otherwise. The two sides in this ugly 150-year-old fantasy war are the British Territorial Government operating a territorial state of state, like the state of Wisconsin, and the Municipal United States Government operating a municipal state of state like the state of Wisconsin. So the Army has their undeclared foreign agents, doctors and nurses illegally conscripted under the old federal Title 37 as uniformed officers at the hospitals identify all newborn babies as lost on the battlefield and then presumes the newborns are wards of their territorial states of states, and then the cretins ship your data off to have you arbitrarily defined and registered as a municipal enemy combatant so that the Army can come back in and pillage your estate, etc., under the guise of you being an enemy, and all this absolute crap is being promoted from both sides of this farce. So, they have evidence that you are both a territorial pauper, a ward of the state of state, and more evidence that you are a municipal citizen, a U.S. citizen, which makes you a presumed enemy combatant, already a criminal under their unauthorized 14th Amendment and a slave because you are a criminal. Oh, my, haven't they all been busy making up lies and processes to defraud and rob the people they are supposed to be protecting and serving? So now that you know what these vermin have been perpetuating against innocent people, and how they have been doing it, isn't it time to answer back? Yes, so, they have issued a birth certificate in your name, and this serves as evidence for them, but it can also serve as evidence for you. It's a two-edged sword. You are going to get a few certified copies of the BC and put them in a file. Along with that, you are going to obtain 2 affirmed and notarized witness testimonies from people having first-hand knowledge of who you are, friends, family, classmates, longtime employers, co-workers, etc., and where and when you were born, clearly identifying a picture of you as the one who was born at such and such a time and place to such parents. This establishes who you are and connects your physical body to the name, so that your living lawful personhood can be established. Notice that you have a birthday, but the thing they created when they registered you as property belonging to their corporation has a birth date, which is the file date when this bogus person was created. 2 separate days, 2 separate persons. The additional pieces of paper, the deed of reconveyance officially removing your trade name from the international jurisdiction of the sea and placing it back on the land, the revocation of all prior powers of attorney, the expatriation from territorial and municipal citizenship, the certificate of assumed names, all serve to transport you back to lawful person status and put you firmly back on the land and soil of an American state and seize control of your identity and your assets. All this recorded evidence now stands against their evidence and is superior, because yours is more recent, more credible, and more complete. So now you've got a problem. Your neighbor is suing you for an easement. The inquisitors are harassing you over federal income taxes and you don't have any federal income. Your wife wants a divorce. Some goon from social services is trying to steal your kids for the sex market. What do? All of these courts, absolutely all of them, are nothing but for higher entities having no official office or capacity related to American state citizens. As American state citizens and lawful persons, you are outside their jurisdiction by about 1,000 miles 90% of the time, but you have to know that and you have to bring that forward. Considerations. First, you can often avoid the conventional court shtick altogether. Go to court, stand up without entering the bar, the railing between the onlookers and the court per se, when your name is called, and say, "I am visiting the court as a lawful person to request arbitration." If this provokes a response from the judge, simply shrug and say, "I have been misaddressed by the prosecuting attorney, Your Honor," and request arbitration. Your chances of presenting your ownership interests according to a normal course of business are much better in arbitration, and if you have done your homework, your chances of getting a private arbitration service to agree with your position, if you can explain it adequately, which is covered below, are also much better. But be aware that arbitration is not for criminal matters and that results are generally speaking binding and non-appealable for both parties. The words lawful person, visiting, and misaddressed are all red flags for the judge, who is most likely going to expedite your speedy exit from his courtroom. Second line of defense, when faced with criminal charges or unavoidable confrontation in their arena. 1. The judge is not your enemy. The judge is the referee. He makes his money off of judgments, so he will be delighted if he can nail someone, and he really doesn't care who. 2. The ones you want to torpedo and/or discourage are the prosecuting attorney and the district attorney who is responsible for the prosecuting attorney. 3. All these guys are racketeering on our shores and really don't have a leg to stand on, so they are probably more afraid of you than you are of them. 4. You can prepare your demonstration in advance and have your evidence ready to go, so get yourself several copies of everything, keep one master file copy, put one additional copy of your master file somewhere else safe, and the rest of your copies are then available for presentations. 5. You don't need to present an authenticated birth certificate, and you never need to record a birth certificate. You just need a certified BC to present to the district attorney. Along with that, you bring either original or recorded copies of a set of 2 witness testimonies done before a public notary under penalty of perjury and from without the United States, affirming that you, photo embedded in the page, are to their first-hand knowledge the man or woman whose actual physical birth event occurred in Flat Rump, Texas, July 4, 1946, or whatever your details are, of course. 6. These 3 documents establish who you are, where and when you were born, and your physical presence leaves no doubt that you are alive. 7. You set the DA or assistant DA down and look them in the eye, and you plunk that BC down on the desk and you say, I am not presenting this for any purpose of identification, that is lawyer speak for I am here for payment and exemption. On top of the BC, you lay down the witness testimonies. 8. Then you say, I am a lawful person, an American state citizen, and I have been misaddressed by Peter K. Lipsalet, Esquire, an attorney in your Territorial State of State District. He has sent unsolicited mail misaddressed to a foreign person to me. You plunk down whatever summons or other paperwork has been sent to you or delivered to your door. 9. Then you say, I want this clearly understood. I am a lawful person standing on the land and soil jurisdiction of this state. I am not a resident of any state of state. I also want it understood that I have not volunteered for any territorial or municipal citizenship or duty, and that I claim my exemption from such duty effective with my actual birthday. I have placed notice in your public record, and I fail to see why Peter K. Lipsalet, Esquire, is being allowed to misaddress me in this manner. 10. Any unauthorized municipal person represented by this name has been returned to the Secretary of the Treasury, and the Secretary and his successors have been named the fiduciaries responsible for this account. Now, I have not made any charges against this account, and I have not authorized Mr. Peter K. Lipsalet, Esquire, to make any charges, either. Now, surely, this is all a big mistake and misunderstanding. Plunk down a black and white copy of your Form 56 and mailing receipts. 11. Because as there is light in the day, I am not dead in any sense of the word. Now, I know that you are operating under the 1934 Amendment to the Trading with the Enemy Act, and I know all about the Lieber Code, and I know and can prove for a fact that I am a peaceful third-party non-combatant who is owed the law of peace, and I refer you, sir, to R. the 27th of January 161 so that you can see in military terms exactly what kind of law and exemptions and reparations I am owed. And I see no evidence of any valid contract, no authority to address me, and no jurisdiction of the court related to me. I want this whole matter cleared up and cleaned out, and I wish for my lawful person and all my assets to be fully exonerated and exempted, with prejudice foreclosing any further contact or court action presuming against me and my material interests. If Peter K. Lipsalet wishes to continue his attack after you have explained that I am a lawful person, not a legal person, he can take it up with the Secretary of the Treasury. Quote. 12. Be just as nice as the flowers in May, folks. You can afford to be. Put a business card with an "in care of" address for the return of the paperwork, and just walk out. They have a performance obligation to you 6 miles wide. Make them perform. Now all this takes chutzpah, initiative, pre-planning, and practice. You can't just sit around and think that, oh, I know who I am, and think that everyone else is just going to know who you are. That DA's job is to fleece any and all enemy combatants in a non-existent 150-year-old war clean. He's going to see you as an enemy combatant if you leave him an inch and a foof in the wind. Once you really start thinking about this, you will realize that there isn't much out there proving that you even exist, much less any record of your political status and capacity, and what there is wrong. That makes you a sitting duck for these racketeers. Our own dear generals and admirals of the U.S. Navy set it up this way with malice aforethought while they were playing with their toys and drawing their pay. That factoid, along with a clear view of what these renegade employees have been doing, should jerk you awake and get you up on your feet. The sooner the better. Once you have your own records established and polished and you have your superior evidence nailed down, join your state assembly. I thought that starting with the state jural assemblies would be a good idea, and it still is, but only if you are setting up an actual state jural assembly, not a state of state jural assembly nor any kind of incorporated state jural assembly, which doesn't get the job done and doesn't put an end to this mischief. Been there, done that, and too many times. This time, we are going to settle this hash, and if the Brits or the Popes or anyone does anything at all to impede us or harm us, they are going to be fully liable and exposed for all the world to see. Please hit subscribe, like, share, embed, and get ready for many more Anna von Reitz article videos.